All right. Good morning. Welcome to. Oh, good morning. Welcome to yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host, Pogokiro. Sometimes goes by another name, but you know. Okay. Let's see. Stop stream. Switch to Java Minecraft. Here we are. Oh no, dude! Every fucking time. Every time it just dies. I don't know why. What's the deal? My cat is going absolutely nuts behind me. I don't know what he's doing. I'm like cramming food in my mouth. Trying to keep going here. All right. Yes. Welcome back. Hello. Good morning. This is a setting sun, so this is not quite the this is kind of incongruent with what's going on. But yeah. Hello. Welcome. I have built this rail line to the village in the plains. Just as a test to see if I could do it and what it would feel like. And you know what? It feels pretty good. I feel like a lot more connected to this town now that there's a rail line to it. So it makes me want to invest stuff into it. Because, you know, now that it's connected to my base, like yeah, dude, I can pour time. I can hang out here, right? And if I hang out here, I will naturally improve it just by hanging out. Because that's what I do. So just by making the investment of putting in the rail line, I'm gonna like reinvigorate this town. But before I do this one, I have to remain accountable. In the beginning of this world, I found another village in the savannah. And in that village, it was early game, and I had very, very little stuff of my own. So, and I saw, oh look, this village has a big pile of wheat. I'm just gonna take like a third of it. And I did. I just took a third of the wheat and left. And I would never go back to that village. Well, like, sure, they're not really creatures, they're not really alive, it's not really there. It's not really real, but symbology and symbolism play a big part in our consciousness. That misty, like, untouchable, like, part that no one can quite grab, consciousness, right? That thing. Symbols do a big thing to that, to your consciousness. So, I think it would behoove me to create a line. Here, let me take a nap. To create a train line to that town, and pay back the wheat that I took from them from so long ago. Now you can see here there's already a train line, and it goes to the start. Now, do I want to make a new train line, or do I want to like just extend the train line to the village here that I kind of screwed over? I mean, they're not bad, right? They still have a ton of wheat. It's not like I took it all. I didn't steal all their food. That'd be terrible. I'm not. What am I, English? No. No, that's harsh. No, dude. Yeah, sorry, English. No, but I gotta make amends, right? I gotta make amends. I gotta fix it. It never goes away. It just because it happened in the past, like, doesn't mean it went away. Because this base is built upon the wheat that I stole. Literally, right? I used the wheat that I stole from that village to raise horses to go find more stuff and to raise. Remember all those cows? Remember all those cows that I grew to have food? That wheat was used to seed the start of that cow factory. I made a ton of cows in the beginning, with the wheat that I stole. Well, I planted my own, but I didn't have it right. And then like the end result is oh shit. The end result of me stealing all that wheat from that village in the beginning, because it was stealing, it wasn't mine. And it's where'd it go? All this steak here, all this steak. This steak is the result of me stealing the villagers' food in the beginning as a seed to start. So like, and I have it and they don't. Ah, that never goes away, right? It's just gonna sit there until I need it. In fact, I built upon it. Like just until I had my village. So until I established a city over there of a village, until I established a city of a village over there, I was eating the wheat and then the oh wait a minute here, options, video settings. Here we're gonna just adjust stuff here. You don't need to see this stuff. And then options, video settings, general. We're gonna go adaptive to deal with the low frame rates. Much better. Okay, what was I even saying? Yeah, my base is built upon that history doesn't go away, right? I'm standing on top of it. It doesn't go away. It will continue to be there forever. And the effects will ripple out forward forever unless I make amends. And the longer I wait, the more I have to do to make amends. So, as it is, how much wheat do I have? I don't even have a lot of wheat. I have like one stack, which is, you know, probably enough if I give it all to them. I should probably grow more though. So I can like just do that right now. Hold on. Let's do that right now. Yay, content. I can keep talking about stuff while I'm doing this. Oh, I can tell you about the story I just had. The story I just had. So, you know, pre-show, I like to go outside and have a little time, you know, in the quiet of the morning. And there was another guy out there, right? And so I was like, all right, whatever. And we just did our things, right? Just like enjoying the silence. And then this other guy got done throwing out his trash and then walked over to us and started fucking interrogating us like he was a cop. It was like he was a cop. He just started, like, the energy he gave off was cop energy. Absolutely. The dude was a cop. So this cop comes over and starts just asking questions, being Mr. Interrogator, like he's entitled to know everything. And yeah, it was a little disconcerting. Like the energy, he came off as like kind of like a, yeah, kind of like a jerk. He came up as a cop. Because it wasn't like benign questioning, right? It was insinuation questioning. It was insinuating that we were doing bad things. And who likes to use insinuation? Cops, right wingers, the Republicans. They love using insinuation. Why? Because they don't have facts. So they have to create a cloud of bad stuff behind them. Right? Man, he just came up out of nowhere. He rolled up like a cop. That's what he did. He rolled up like a cop. Makes me wonder, like, maybe he's not a cop. Maybe that's just a kind of mentality of certain kind of people that they feel entitled to enforce order, their version of order wherever they go. Now, you can turn around and point fingers at me. Of course, I see them. I see all the fingers pointing at me. Like, what about you trying to enforce your order? That's not, now let's look at use our powers of distinction. Let's use our powers of distinction. The order the order that I not enforce, but that I put out is that people are free to be who they are, and that I'm against the constraints placed upon the dominant hegemony to suppress those kinds of people. I'm against that, right? So basically, I'm enforcing freedom, which is different than enforcing a particular expression. Like, I'm not saying that you have to have this form. I'm saying you can't suppress these other forms. So what else is going on? But yeah, that guy came up like a cop. It was weird. It was weird. I mean, like, I couldn't hang out. I should have hung out and helped defend, but I got to do this, man. this doesn't go away. I mean, I guess I could have delayed it, but I felt awkward out there. I mean, I didn't intend on being out there very long. It wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna hunker down and have a chit chat with these people. No, dude, I just wanted to go be in and out. I wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for other constraints that forced me to go outside. I wouldn't even be there. Okay. Okay. Hey, good morning. Happy Sunday. Things are ramping up, I think. Um, the multiple investigations into Donald Trump's criminality are coming to fruition. They are coming to fruition. I'm anticipating next week, this coming week, Donald Trump will be indicted. Donald Trump does not intend to defend himself on the evidence because he's already admitted that he had documents he wasn't supposed to have. His handlers, or not his handlers, his fans will say that he never had the documents, and but that's because they're confused. Donald Trump himself admits that he has the documents. He stole the documents. He took the U.S. top secret documents out of their secure place and put them in a place where Chinese spies could get them. He didn't say the part about the Chinese spies, but that part is implicit in that Mar-a-Lago is not a secure facility. And we already know that Chinese spies were all up in that stuff. They were all up in Mar-a-Lago. All it took was a bribe of $150,000, and you could be all up inside Mar-a-Lago, checking out all the stuff there. So yeah. Top chat to all chat. I will hear you all. Bring it. Wah 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 wah. So it's very interesting. Intéressant. C'est intéressant. c'est intéressant. I don't know. It's been so long since I've like hung out with like people who speak French with a proper French accent that it's like hard for me. I guess I could watch French stuff and listen to how they say it and then say it like them. I don't have to hang out with French people who speak French. I can just listen to movies and stuff, right? That's how everyone learns English, isn't it? They watch American movies. Yeah, you know what? That's what's funny. I was watching on YouTube. I was watching two movies from China. One was called Hero. And these are like older movies. I haven't seen anything recent from China. But Hero, which is like an awesome kung fu movie, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which was like amazing. I look at it, I'm like, man, look at the choreography, like everything. Look what they're doing. That's amazing. That's great. Right? Spreads culture. Chinese culture. Yeah, and if you listen to it in the original language and read subtitles, it's great. I don't you know. What else have I done? I raided some Piglin Bastions and stuff. That's why I have more gold. And smithing templates, and netherite scrap and stuff. But I don't want to go go do that because I have to pay really close attention. In fact, what am I even doing? Like, I should be like doing my show and talk about stuff. Of course, I never have a structure, right? I mean, maybe I do sometimes, but accountability, that's the thing I was talking about. I wanted to hold myself accountable to the fact that I stole a bunch of wheat from those people way over there. So I got to build a train line. And I was contemplating, how do I build the train line? Do I build a whole separate train line unto itself just to go to the village, or do I build an extension off of this train line? So there's the minor inconvenience of having to hop off and train stops, but still, it's still here. It's still connected, and it's that way. It's already halfway built. If I do it the other way, I have to build a whole new rail line. Then, do I build it on the same side, or do I build it on the Savannah side? And if I build it on the Savannah side, like, do I just build it like diagonally along the coast? Again? And then I could, I guess, use the same bridge here. See what I mean? Planning. It does take planning. We built this city on rock and roll. Okay. Beep bop boom bada bop. What have I done in the Nether? Let's check that out. Yeah, I made a bunch of flat space up on top so I could like see what's going on up there. And that had the side effect of making spawning platforms for the magma cubes, so they don't really hang out here very much. It's hard to get them to spawn inside this area. They do sometimes, but not very often. And even their little bit of spawning has made like a lot of like frog lights for me. I started building another rail line to, or not even a rail line, just a path to another place. Put that in your hand. Put that in your hand. I started making another rail line. Not a rail line, but a path to a piglin bastion. But it was it's a lot more dangerous than the one I was in. At least the treasure room, I could see where everything was and everyone was, so I could just kill them. But with the hey fellas, what's up? with the this one up here, it's like the living quarters, and it's cramped, and I get ambushed, and I get chopped up really easy. In fact, I shouldn't even go there right now. Like, I'm not happy thoughts. I shouldn't even go there right now because, like, I can get two-shot by these guys. They can basically one tick, boom, dead, explode. You're over, and then I have to spend a lot of time and energy, which is why I was making a rail line. I was contemplating making a rail line, but then I'm like, why do I don't even have a reason to make a rail line out there because I would never go there again once I've emptied it out. There's just no reason to go there. Unlike the treasure room, in which there's a spawner, a magma cube spawner. So if I really want frog lights, I could build I can bring the frogs to that magma cube spawner and just hang out there while it generates insane amounts of frog lights. But that's like, you know, why would I don't need that many frog lights. Like, it's nice, cool, thanks, but like, I think I have enough. Unless I decide to like make something entirely out of frog lights. Oh, this is broken, huh? Let me fix it. Let me fix it real quick. No, I cannot because I don't have anything to do it. Is there a lever? A lever, there it is. Wah! Freedom! I won't let you down, freedom. I will not give you up, freedom. You got to give what you take, yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, dude, it's like 8 in the morning on a Sunday. Try not to yell, fuck. As I eat a piece of toast on camera. I'm really hungry. I should have eaten before I started this. I need more coffee. There we go. Let's hang out with the village people. Yeah, let's take the train line, in fact. I am delaying this game, am I not? I am. I started talking about stuff, and then I stopped. Started playing Minecraft. Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't want to play Minecraft? What a great game. Look how beautiful this is. I wanted to go down south. Oh, that way south. I wanted to go down south. There's a bunch of interesting things down south. And there's an ocean over there. Did you know? So, yeah, I totally want to go check out down south. After I make my count, after I do my other stuff. And this is like a whole cave structure I haven't even checked out. Down there. I mean, a little bit, but not much. And there's the village. The village, the village, the village people. People of the village. People of the village. See, that's the other side effect, is that I can't fight Enderman right now. Like, with Elytra wings, I can't tank them. If I'm wearing armor, my chest piece, I can tank them. But not with my Elytra wings. I have to be a lot more strategic. Hey, what's up, guy? What's up, farmer dude? So there was a bunch of guys with no jobs, right? They're just hanging out like they have no jobs and the only reason why they have no jobs is there's no workstations. So I'm like, what if I just give you one? And so I made one right here. I just made a tool stop, and then yeah, this guy took it up. He's like, sure, I'll be your tool dude. But then but he's in the middle of nowhere. He's in the middle of nowhere. He has like no building, no nothing. He's just standing in a field. So I feel it feels kind of necessary to like build him something so that he's not just standing in a field. I mean, if you're a farmer, okay, you should be standing in a field, right? That's where your crops are. Well, not over here. Okay. But everyone's got like a home and stuff. So, and then this guy, the church, like they don't have a priest right now because I stole their dude here. I gotta make them a new one. See, look at all these little crimes. These crimes that I've done to this world that don't go away, that will never go away until I make good on it and fix it. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? I stole their priest away because I didn't have one in early game, and I needed a brewing stand. See what I mean? Accountability. Yeah, let's go away go home before dark. You know what? I can kind of see it from dude's perspective now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so considering that he's a right-wing guy, right? The guy who came up like a cop and interrogated us. I can, if I look at him and if I'm like, all right, let me make a few assumptions, right? I assume that he's a right-winger. I assume he gets his information from Fox News or similar. The story right now, the current story, like narrative in the Portland area, I don't know about the Seattle, but at least in the Portland area, is that drug use is rampant, and that fentanyl and heroin users and crack addicts are on the corner in public, shooting up and passing out in public, and that makes that makes them feel bad, and they say this tarnishes, this reduces the quality of the public space by allowing the conservatives are saying by allowing public illegal drug use and allowing the consequences of public illegal drug use to be made public, to be out in the open, you're decreasing the quality of the public sphere to which they pay taxes. So they don't want a decreased quality of public sphere. They want a nice, place of. And I'm not saying, and that's true, and that and that's true of everyone, not just conservatives. But I'm gonna take it from the conservative perspective. So they see the permissive attitude of the state, which in this case being the city, as leading to not only this open illegal drug use, but also, which decreases the quality of the public sphere, but also it leaves unchecked the effects, the negative consequences. It spreads. In other words, they're saying this behavior, this airing of our social problem is encouraging spread of the social problem. And so they're saying the way to solve this problem is to reintroduce the carceral system that we had in the first place, which led to the existence of these people just hidden away. They were still there, you just didn't see them. And for them, that's the key. Keep it out of the public sphere. So this dude who acted like a cop was maybe confirming that I was not using illicit substances, that my actions were lawful. But the way he came up was pretty disrespectful, like a cop. He was exactly like a cop who thought he caught someone. So I can see it from their perspective. However, now let's address that. Let's address let's address it. Let's talk about it. So it's a problem, right? We have this fentanyl use, we have this heroin use, we have this crack use, and it's a problem. Illicit drug use is a problem, a social problem. Now, you can look at it from a couple of different lenses. We can use a couple of different lenses. Look at it from the functionalist lens, right? I'm wearing my functionalist hat, using the functionalist lens. Functionally speaking, illicit drug use is an obvious problem. It destroys individuals. It encourages crime. It funds a black market, and gives power to cartels and criminals, and not the state or the people. So functionally speaking, it's creating unintended consequences. Dysfunction, if you will. It's creating it's dysfunctional. It's not working anymore. Because in response to drug use, the people, the state, well, maybe the people, maybe the state the people, right? The people are the ones who empower the state. So the people have decided, well, we're going to punish people who are addicted to substances. We're going to punish them with incarceration. And they will be forced to become clean. They'll be forced to quit drugs. And then after they're done being not addicted anymore, we're just going to throw them back out on the streets again. Now they have no job, they're homeless, they lost all their friends and family, and they're like, all right, good luck. So maybe you can try for a little while, but jail, incarceration, like, breaks people. It breaks people. It messes them up. Like, it's a bad thing. It messes people up. Incarceration. Like, some people will attest to saying, "Oh yeah, it's good. Like, it's great. It helped me get clean." Like, or like, it did me good, right? But that's like Stockholm syndrome. You get mightily rewarded by saying the system worked for you. You might even gotten out early by saying the system worked for you. You might even have a job now by saying the system worked for you. I don't know. But incarceration, if you look at it, is a bad direction to go. The United States has the largest incarcerated population in the world, more than China, more than India, which are like, ginormous, more than Europe, more than Africa, more than Russia. How is it possible, right? If you count incarceration as being both prison and jail, because jail incarceration like sucks too. I don't know. I've never been jailed or incarcerated. I don't know. But I can attest, but I've heard people attest to the inhumane conditions in which we treat our prisoners. It's inhumane the way we treat our prisoners. It's inhumane. Like in Texas, they live in, the prisoners live in giant concrete buildings with no air conditioning. Man, I know what that's like. In Japan, I lived in Japan, and I lived in a in a giant concrete, like, I don't know how many stories tall it was. 7, 14, I don't know. 7 maybe? It wasn't 14, but maybe 7. And I lived on like the second floor. It was a giant concrete building. Everything was concrete. The whole thing was concrete. The walls were concrete. The ceilings were concrete. The floors were concrete. It was all concrete. And it doesn't have air conditioning. So in the summer, if you don't have your own air conditioning solution, you're roasting. And that's what I did. I just had a fan, and it was so hot, and like it was impossible to sleep at night. So that in the daytime, I was all lethargic. Like, it's just bad. And then, so these prisoners are like stuck in a cell, concrete cells that are not air conditioned, and they have no way of cooling themselves, and the temperature is like 100 degrees, like plus. That's torture, guys. That's torture. You can't subject humans to those kinds of conditions. Like, if you wouldn't put a baby, if you wouldn't keep a child in that room, locked in that room, why would you keep an adult locked in that room? So it's pretty inhumane, our incarceration system, the United States. So, if our super inhumane incarceration system, if we use that to address drug use, how do you think it's going to work out? It's not going to work out. Look at, the United States has the biggest prison population, and we still have drug use. And it's terrible. It destroys lives. All this money is being poured into locking up human beings in inhumane conditions. All this money. Think about the money that we spend to lock up human beings. Like, oh my God, if we didn't lock up human beings and instead, like, unnecessarily, right? Some people are violent and they have to be locked up. Some people are dangerous and they have to be locked up. Like, I don't, some people, but to treat drug addiction with criminal offenses does zero to address the problem of drug use, but it empowers a police state, an incarceration state, in which you get money for locking up human beings. So to want to go back to that is just, to me, inhumane. It's stupid. It's moving backwards. It's acting as if we didn't learn a goddamn thing from the past 50 years. If open air drug use bothers you, then fucking deal with it. Why don't we have a place for them to go inside of instead of out in the open? Oh, they don't want to go there? They don't have a ride there? Why don't we have a service that will fucking pick them up and take them there? So now you're in a room, right? No one's going to come jack your shit or beat you up or sexually harass you. Um, and if you're fucking done doing that shit, if you're fucking done, there are people there who will help you get off of it. It's right there, dude. It's no judgment. It's no crime. No one's gonna arrest you. Like, how much better is that for society than, oh, if we fucking catch you, we're gonna lock you in prison? I mean, the United States is stuck on like a slave plantation mentality. It's a plantation mentality to fucking lock people up for drug use, for addiction. It's plantation fucking logic. So maybe the decriminalization and open air drug use hasn't solved the problem. Instead, it took a problem that was always fucking there and it dragged it out into the light. Now what? Now what are you going to do? It's in the light. You can shove it back in the darkness. Is it going to go away? No. But bad people will make more money off of it. And the problem will not get better. You basically sacrifice humans for profit. Because every fucking person locked up for a non-violent crime, their life is sucked away for someone else's profit. It's inhumane. It's inhumane. And it's dangerous for everyone. So I can see that, sure, conservatives just want a fucking decent society. But I think they've been conditioned the wrong way. They've been listening to Fox News, and it fucks up their brain. What else we got here? Yeah, that piece of toast, baller. Accountability. States are blatantly refusing to comply with. Oh, this is by Joanne Friedman on Spoutible. States are blatantly refusing to comply with federal orders. Alabama's map. Texas's river barriers. Without accountability for flagrant violations of law, of democratic norms, of congressional subpoenas, we end up here. I'll say it again. No accountability, no rule of law, no democracy. Truth. 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 Jim Jordan refused to abide by a lawful subpoena to appear before the Congress. John Roberts says he doesn't have to go. He doesn't have to go before the Supreme Court. Sam Alito is that who it was? Sammy Alito wrote fucking 2 op-eds to the New York Times saying that the Supreme Court is above regulation by Congress. Like, these guys are fucking going for it, is what I'm saying. Unless we stop them, they're gonna keep fucking doing it. Now, Alabama was ordered by the Supreme Court to change its racist ass maps because they on purpose did gerrymandering to dilute or to suppress the Democratic vote on purpose. They wrote racist maps. So the Supreme Court said, all right, you guys got to write a new map or we're going to do it for you. Well, Alabama, the Republican white supremacist government of Alabama refused to do it. They just refused to do what the Supreme Court ordered. And then Texas, the governor, Greg Abbott, that fascist, the fascist who banned water breaks for workers, has put up barriers in the Rio Grande River and like which has killed people already. He's forcing people with fucking women with kids back into the river where they drown and people have already died. You're putting our fucking border guard people in a bad position, Greg Abbott, and you're putting the United States in a bad position, and you're putting the state of Texas in a bad position because now you're flagrantly violating the rules that we had set up. The rules are you don't control the border. The United States does, not Texas. Like I understand Texas, your history is of a slaver state. I understand it, but you don't set the rules up. See, so this is an example of the Confederates getting all riled up. They want to overthrow democracy. Confederates want to overthrow democracy and destroy the United States government. So listen to what Andy Biggs says. Remember Andy Biggs? He's the guy who is on Team Coup. He asked Donald Trump for a pardon for January 6th. Listen to what he says.
I would add to that, we should not fear a government shutdown. Most of what we do up here is bad anyway.
Most of what we do up here is bad anyways. So understand, the Republicans are the ones who are controlling the House of Representatives. And he admitted that most of what Republicans do is bad anyways. He said we should not fear a government shutdown. What instigated by the House Republicans, because most of what Republicans do there anyways is bad. He spoke the truth. He can't speak for Democrats, but he can speak for Republicans because they control the House. They're the ones who are like driving right now. When Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats were holding the reins, when they were holding the reins, everything went smoothly. They passed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bills. And they did two impeachments of Donald Trump. So yeah, when the Democrats had power, everything went fucking smooth in the House. But when Republicans have control of the House, they can't pass anything. They almost defaulted on the US debt. And now they're going to shut down the government because they can't keep it going. They can't do nothing. Because, as Andy Biggs told you, most of what Republicans do is bad anyways. So I thought Chris Christie was like the solution to Donald Trump, right? Chris Christie was the governor of New Jersey, and he kind of fucked himself over because he did a Trump thing. He used his power as governor to shut down a bridge in order to retaliate politically against his enemy, which is bullshit, right? That's fascist fucking thinking. But Donald Trump had picked him to be his vice president until Paul Manafort came in on behalf of the Russian government and told him, no, we want Mike Pence. So everyone switched it up to Mike Pence. Anyway, so I thought, maybe Chris Christie could be the antidote to Trump. But no, it turns out that's not true. That's not true. Remember this about Don Winslow reminds us that. Remember this about Chris Christie. After 4 years of Donald Trump's horror show presidency, Chris Christie helped Trump in 2020 to get reelected. He tried to help Trump again. Christie prepped Trump for the debates with Joe Biden and, according to pub reports, encouraged him to target Biden's stutter. Chris Christie, dude. Accountability. Things don't go away. Things don't go away. They don't go away. Like, get called out, then own up on it. Own up to it. If you get called out, own up to it. Don Winslow continues. One of the biggest mistakes my fellow Democrats make is this sentence. I hate him or her and everything they stand for, but if they're bashing Trump, no, it doesn't work that way. Don't normalize years of hate by giving a pass to people who built the monster that is Trump. Sorry, Chris Christie. fascist. I mean, you helped him. You were right there with him. He like stabbed you in the face, and then you went right back to him because you have no integrity. State of love and trust. As I busted down the pretext, sin still plays and preaches, but to have an empty court. Jason Adley addresses racism controversy surrounding his song, Try That in a Small Town, and pledges to continue performing it. I love our country. What country is he talking about? He's not talking about the United States. Nah, he's talking about the Confederacy. He's talking about the Confederacy. He's talking about his people. Who are his people? White supremacists. Don't get it confused. See, he wants to confuse it. This is the trick, right? This is the trick that fascists and Confederates will use all the time. They will always swap out and interchange the United States for their country. Even if they're separate. They just don't say it. It's just implied. If you have the ear for it, if you're part of the crowd, you understand the pretext. You understand the pretext if you're part of the crowd. So he's not going to come out and say the Confederacy. I love the Confederacy. I want to see it restored to what it once was before all this bullshit started happening to us, the Confederates. He won't say it, right? He says our country, our people, our republic. That's what he says. That's what they say. That's their dog whistle, right? That's their dog whistle. You have to accept their pretext. You have to accept their pretext in order to hear it. But once you like got the pretext, then you can be like, oh, yep, fucking, he's straight out calling for the white supremacists to rise up. It's a white supremacist song. It's a white supremacist song. I mean, he pointed out Black Lives Matter. His video pointed out Black Lives Matter on purpose. It's a white supremacist song. Gotta understand, guys. Erin Haynes says, the past isn't past. The President of the United States is 2 years younger than Emmett Till would have been today. His accuser died this year, 2023. We're really not even talking about our country's history. This is contemporary. This is present day. This is now. Accountability. Years later, that woman came forward and said, yep, I lied about the whole fucking thing. And I got some 14-year-old kid murdered by the state. It was basically murder. She bore false witness and killed a kid. An innocent kid. Think about that. It's like, because that's not something that would be done in service to Yahweh, to Jehovah, to Allah. No way, dude. No way. That's not something you do for God. Jesus never commanded you to do this. I don't know about Islam, but I don't think Muhammad ever said to go like kill 14-year-old kids for Allah. No, I don't think that happened. But there's a particular idol that needs this kind of sacrifice. There's a particular idol. It's the white idol. The white idol needs this kind of sacrifice. The sacrifice of children, the blood of children. You have for the white supremacists to maintain control and power, right? For the white idol to give them power, they have to sacrifice the blood of children. Now, am I being metaphorical? Not really. Emmett Till was sacrificed in the name of white supremacy to maintain white supremacy control, because white supremacy control is terror. It's terror. Like, there's no rule of law. There's no human rights in white supremacy. It's terror. It's literally terror. It's violence. The whole thing is predicated on violence. You're either part of the ruling class or you're like you're less than human, and to maintain that relationship, you have to institute violence to keep the whole population terrorized, because the purpose is terror, right? So this woman bore false witness against a 14-year-old kid in order to maintain the power of white supremacy. Look, all you people, this is the power of the white idol, to which we all give allegiance. So that kind of thing never goes away. It was taken. It was taken. And it was never restored. There was no reparations made. Nothing done. Justice was not done. She died confessing to her problem, and nothing was done to her. They used the power of the state to murder a kid. And they got away with it. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Ow. It's still happy because you know what? It didn't go away. It didn't. It's here. I'm dragging it to the light. Do I have the solution? Nah, not really. But I know that it's bad, and if we just shove it back away, if we just shove it back into the darkness, it's the problem's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse. The divergence is going to grow bigger between what was done and what we have to do to fix it. I mean, there's a reason why I think the United States should apply the death penalty to Donald Trump. I like what Donald Trump is doing. He's painting himself as Jesus to his followers. He's saying, "I am sacrificing myself for you, my people who fund my whatever." Donald Trump is telling his people that he's being indicted for on their behalf, and they love him for it, and they give him money, and the money they give him funds his criminal defense. He's not really running for president. He's getting free publicity from Fox News. Why would he spend any money? No, instead he's using the money he gets from that are supposed to be campaign donations, and he's using it to pay for his criminal defense. Ooh, that's right. I have the spiffy mod now. Ooh. Oh, what happened? What just happened? Was there a... I think I bumped into a bad guy in here. What happened? I was going to the Piglin Bastion. Alright, here. Okay. There we go. Whee! There's the nether waste I think I want to use for the gold farm over there. But there's another nether waste over here too. So who knows? I think that's nether. I think even this is nether waste. There's a portal version of the gold farm. that I can make, but it's I'm afraid to use portals because if they get linked wrong, you have to like it's done. It's game over. So I'd have to like do that very, very carefully, and it requires going on the nether roof, which I don't like because I get lost easily. No landmarks. Easily lost. Danger, danger. All around. Why am I going here then? I don't know. Change of pace, change of scenery. Alrighty then. So I've already cleared out this bastion. And it was a lot easier. It was a lot easier than it was at the other place. Because I could go in and like kill them one by one. So down there is where the treasure is. And F5, F5. Down there is where the magma spawner is. So if I wanted to make new if I wanted to make more frog lights, I can do it there. All right. What else is up? Flooding the zone. Flooding the zone. This is a propaganda technique. Okay. Let's check it out, what this is saying here. And since the Republican aim is to get revenge and sowing confusion, rather than actually proving high crimes and misdemeanors, they may be able to use the obscurity of the allegations and the need to plunge down various rabbit holes to understand them to their advantage. Rather than make a specific case, Republicans are trying to foment the cynical sense that scandal surrounds Biden just as it does Trump. The point is not to hold anyone accountable for actual wrongdoings, but to parody the process of trying. And then Jay Rosen says, this is how the propaganda method known as flooding the zone works. It's also how shitposting on this site and sites such as this one works. It's not new. It's well studied. It tries to exploit both sides' logic and critics say practices in the news media. So let me give you an example. So there was a news article about climate change and trying to deal with our climate change with record heat and stuff. And then so this guy, Anthony Prosser, comes along. He's using bad faith, right? He's got no faith. He has zero faith. So he's doing the flood the zone technique. So he starts just asking questions. So he says, what happened to the ozone layer? Acid rain. Every decade or so, the government has some scientists say that something is going to destroy the earth if we don't spend money to fix it. Because it's true, right? So I say, right, good point, right? Acid rain and ozone layer were fixed with all our combined efforts through government. We can solve the climate crisis if we can mobilize world governments on a common cause. Excellent point. Maintenance takes energy. That's right. It's correct, right? And then, how does he respond to good information? He says, oh, that was sarcasm. He was lying. He's like, ha ha, my true face comes out. He lies and said, they naturally went away. No, dude, no, I just fucking told you. We spent a bunch of time and money and energy. We banned a bunch of chemicals and did a bunch of shit in order to stop acid rain and to help close the hole in ozone layers. That's why you don't fucking hear about it anymore. So he lied. He basically said, he's like, takes off his mask and says, haha, I'm actually an evil person and I'm gonna prove it by lying. Rah! And then he does another one. He lies again. He's like, Y2K didn't happen either. I'm like, dude, we spent millions and millions of dollars to lots and lots of people who coded a whole bunch in order to make sure things didn't crash, and then even then some things still did crash. Like what are you trying to do? Erase history? I don't understand it, but that's what fascists do, right? They try to erase history. They want to pretend that, oh, if we do something bad and we erase history, that it just magically goes away. That's what fascists do. They try to get rid of accountability. This guy fucking lied through his teeth. So like, I'm like, that's weird. It didn't sound like sarcasm because anyways, I don't want to keep going into it. So they're flooding the zone. They're flooding the zone with shit in order to confuse people so they don't know what's actually going on. Like, the other example of that is just asking questions, jacking off. They're like irrelevant questions. But the point is not to reveal truth of the questions. The point is to sow doubt and confusion. That's what they're going to do with Joe. That's the whole point of the impeachment thing. That's why they want to impeach Joe Biden. They want to do it for revenge, right? It's not because Joe Biden has committed any crimes. It's because the Republicans want revenge. And it's not justice. They just want revenge. And they know they don't have the evidence to support anything. They don't have. If they had the evidence, they would bring it forward, but they don't have any evidence. So what they're going to do is that technique I told you about. They're going to make fear, uncertainty, and doubt. What they're going to do is they're going to use insinuation to insinuate all this bad stuff about Joe Biden, and it's going to be a dark, 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 dark cloud. And they're going to use the fear of this dark, 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 dark cloud to say even more horrible things like, oh, if we can insinuate all these dark crimes, then we can delegitimize Joe Biden and then the Democrats and anyone who supports them. It'll be so, but it's not there. It's not real, right? If if you drill down on it, there's nothing there. They'll eventually come out and they'll show you they have a little mouse. They built up this huge thing and it's just a little mouse. But that's their plan. That's what they want to do to Joe Biden. That's the impeachment process. That's the whole point of doing what they're doing. And they're going to flood the zone. They're going to flood the zone with bad information and irrelevant information in order to keep people like conservatives distracted, right? Conservatives can see with their eyes that there's a bunch of druggies, a bunch of people with drug addiction problems on the corner. They can see it with their eyes. Fox News tells them the reason why this is happening is because of these lenient policies and that we should get tough on crime and put these people in the carceral system and everyone should submit to authority. That's what Fox News is telling them. So Fox News is creating the link that connects those people with the propaganda of Fox News. And then they say the only people who will do that will be Republicans. So yeah, conservatives get tricked into supporting fascist policies. They get tricked into supporting fascist policies every time. And that guy was so incensed about it that he became a cop. Remember how I told you that people can turn into agents of the Matrix? Okay, think about it. Remember the Matrix. What is the Matrix? Morpheus told you the Matrix is control. The Matrix is control. Sociology tells you, sure, there's this thing called society. It's all around us. Right? So, and society has rules, and some of them are spoken, some of them are unspoken. Like, but there's rules, and if you break these rules, then agents and the system notices, then agents will appear out of nowhere. Agents take control of the bodies. Like, what are agents? Agents are nothing, right? They're just code. Agents are just code. That's all agents are. They're just code, programming code. Agents will take over a person's body, take away their free will, and they transform literally into agents. And what are they tasked with? Agents are tasked with restoring order, restoring the way it's that the control. They're tasked with restoring control because they're losing control, right? That's why they show up, because they've lost control of something. So agents will take over the body of regular people. It could be anybody, right? If you're not free, it can take you over too. And that person becomes an agent of the Matrix and then comes to like restore order. However, right? Sometimes it's through words, sometimes it's with violence. That's why parents are afraid that their kid will come out as gay in school, because they're afraid that other kids will do violence on their kid. Not because they're necessarily against gay people, but they're afraid for their own kid. And like, I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, dude. And I looked it up. There's a whole bunch, right? I just looked it up real quick. Gay attacks. They attack kids. Kids getting beat up, getting videoed for being gay, dude. That sucks. So if you're a parent and you see this, you're going to be like, yeah, rightly freaked out that, I don't want the school to encourage my kid to come out as gay at school, because the school is not going to protect my kid if he gets targeted by fascist kids who are infected with white supremacy. Because that's what's wrong with those kids. Those kids who attack gay kids are infected with white supremacy. They have an infection. It's literally an infection. It's an infection. Their brains are infected with white supremacy. And we know it, right? We know it's infected with them, because if we sit them down and have them watch these two videos discovered by Ms. Mary Wood, they will have physical reactions to it. They will physically get sick to watching these two videos. So they're infected with white supremacy, possessed. I don't know. And really, we ought to take care of those kids. But instead of hiding, telling our kids to not be yourself, don't be yourself, don't be yourself. We're afraid of the infected white supremacy kids coming and get you. Don't be yourself. That's a terrible message to tell our kids. It's terrible. It's terrible. You should be telling them that, yes, you should be yourself. And it's not always easy to be yourself. It's not always easy to be yourself. There are many forces around you that are fighting to stop you from being yourself. And you should not let them. You should not let them. Be yourself as much as you can. Maybe in certain situations, you have to be a little more reserved. You have to maybe handle it a little bit differently, but be yourself. Don't let them tell you what to do. So now you're defying agents of the Matrix. Now you're defying those agents. Now what happens? All right. Now, let me give you an example, right? The United States has like this racial hierarchy, and part of the game by the white supremacists is that you never talk about it, you never notice it, you never even you remain blind to it. Part of the game of white supremacists is that you remain blind to the racial hierarchy that they've created. But kids don't know this, right? Kids don't know this. They have to be socialized into the delusion of the racial hierarchy. They have to be socialized into it. They're not born with it. So that's how you know kids are innocent. Racism isn't something that kids are born with. It's something that's picked up from either their parents or society. Now look, I'm going to give you an example.
Look at this. Look at this. Is this white?
We're talking about.
Is this white?
We're talking about skin color.
I don't care. Is this white?
We're talking about skin color.
I don't care. Tell me your question.
Your skin
Is it
color
white?
is white.
No, it's not. This is
Not
white.
that white. That's an object. We're talking about
Is
skin color.
This is the same color.
You're white.
This is the option.
So what you think you are? You think what
This is
color
the
are you?
option.
I'm peach.
Bro,
Stupid.
don't call me.
Is she wrong? Is she wrong? No! She is absolutely correct. She is 100% correct. She is peach. She's not white. That right there, that whatever pillow or something she's pointing to, that's white. That's white. Her skin color is peach. She's a kid. She's using her senses the same way conservatives use their senses to look at the street corner and be like, oh, I see a bunch of really sick people. The same way they use their senses to see that, this kid is using her senses, clean as a whistle senses, right? Because she hasn't been like brainwashed yet. Clean as a whistle. She's just fucking calling it as she sees it. Now her friend is trying to explain to her that she's talking about another conceptual level, right? But you see the difference? She's not born with this conceptual difference, this conceptual level. It has to be taught to her. She has to learn that her peach skin is actually white and that it gives privileges. She has to be taught that. It's not born. That means there's a system in place which does that. It socializes kids into this racial hierarchy. Because the kids aren't born with it. It's forced on them by society. What society is it? It's the white supremacist society that forces that upon them. Obviously, because you have this other group of people that want to say, no, we want to abolish racial hierarchy, and we want to abolish racial hierarchy and create a just society in which everyone is free. And there's opposition. There's opposition. That the people who oppose that are the Republicans, white supremacy, because it diminishes their power. That kid's not wrong. That kid was telling the truth. But that it highlights that it highlights that the process of socialization. That kid was not socialized into the ideology of white supremacy, of racial hierarchy. Not yet, at least, right? They had to be taught it. And it's a delusion. It's literally a delusion. It's a delusion. Racial hierarchy. That's a delusion. But white supremacists want you to be blind to it. They want you to not see it. They use language to confuse you. Right? Coded language. They use coded language to confuse you. And they use coded language to talk to one another. They use coded language to talk to one another. Like, I hear all the time when white supremacists like attack me, like on the subliminal level, right? I hear it all the time. Right? They use coded language. So Bob Marley was onto something. He understood the way language is used to condition people's brains to accept delusions. I mean, it's not like it's not like like even Sinead O'Connor knew it. Even Sinead O'Connor could see it. And believe me, she could see a lot of stuff. So if we understand that language can be used to manipulate brains, and we understand that Fox News is a propaganda outlet designed for the purpose of creating support for Republican policies, then we can see how conservative Americans, get controlled and conditioned through the selective use of language by fascist media. And how their perceptions can be hijacked from them through language. Here, let me give you an example. Everyone knows about the UFO thing, right? I think that was the big news, like on Monday or Sunday or something. It went on, right? Listen to this. Here, let me get into Out of the Rain. Walking in the rain. Something stays the same when I'm going nowhere. Okay. Here, don't by the window. Not by the window. I'm gonna hold on to an armored chest piece because I'm tired of these Endermen. Okay. I don't wanna. Let's see. Everything's unfair. But still, I'm looking at you, and what you gonna do, and how have you been? You know you're still my friend, and who knows when we might see again. Everything's saying, 'cause every little thing that you do is gonna come back to you. And every little thing that you say isn't going away. Oh, 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 no. And this might be the end. This might be the beginning. Okay. Okay. Let's see. UFOs, right? UFOs.
Intelligent extraterrestrials.
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
So, like, sure, you can insinuate all sorts of stuff, right? What they're doing a benign version. You know how I told you that the Republicans create a FUD cloud, a cloud of fear, uncertainty, doubt behind them, and they use they use it to attack other people. That's the malignant version of it. This is the benign version of that same spell, the benign version, because they're using these holes in language to create this illusionary cloud behind them. But it's and they're not lying, but they're letting your imagination fill in the gaps where there's no reason for them to do so. And they're actually encouraging it, right? They're encouraging your imagination to fill in the gaps, because whatever your imagination can come up with is anything. It's way better than anything they can actually produce. Because when you make them bring out that mouse from behind their back and then make them show you it's just a mouse. So these guys are doing the same thing. They're trying to distract you. I don't know from what. I don't know what they can possibly be doing. Maybe it's to distract you from the climate change fucking catastrophe that's happening, of like the massive amounts of heat and like the wildfires burning up Canada. Like maybe they're trying to distract you from that, because it's, you know, like this is the climate catastrophe happening before our eyes. Like we need a new source of energy. Like 20 years ago we needed it. 40 years ago we needed it. And we have it. It's the molten salt nuclear reactor. We have it. The powers that be, the oil giants who control our economy and the world, don't want to switch. And our government doesn't want to fund it. I mean, we invented it, and Richard Nixon fucking fired the guy, Alvin Weinberg. So, and now China's going to do it. So it's going to happen one way or the other. It depends on if the West is going to do it or if China's going to do it. Anyways, this is a distraction from climate change. This gets all the science people into FBOs or UFOs and stuff, and they're using this benign cloud of insinuation to stop you from looking over at climate change. How do I know? How do I know? Let's keep going.
Was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
Irrelevant. This is irrelevant. This is a red herring. That question is irrelevant, but it helps build up the cloud of behind you of imagination. The mystique, keeps you engaged. Listen.
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Skiff, secure facility. You know, the kind of place where Donald Trump stole top secret information and then put it in a place where the Chinese spies could get it. Chinese government spies. Let's be specific, right? Because the Chinese spies don't have to be Chinese themselves. Chinese spies are often in from like other nationalities. That Gal Luft guy was a dual citizen Israeli American, and he was a Chinese spy. So like, not just Chinese people. I'm not talking Chinese people. I'm talking Chinese spies. Government spies. Chinese government spies. But yeah. So he's like, I can't tell you except in a secure facility where no one else will know. And spies can't hear us.
Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals.
Cooperative and hostile.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you. And I yield back.
So that creates a big fat air of mystery. Big fat air of mysteries. But really, let's listen carefully.
Intelligent.
Listen carefully now.
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
So remember, a UFO is anything that isn't registered to the American or to like the Western system. That isn't like broadcasting a signal or has an identifier. So anything in the air, a drone that is unknown is a UFO, unidentified flying object. That's a drone. A drone is a UFO. If you don't know where that drone came from, or if they're not telling you, then it's like, you might know what it is, but if they're not telling you, then it's unidentified.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft.
Yeah, right? She gives you a big hint. I can't ask you when you obtained a UFO crashing. I can't ask you. It might have been a long time ago. It might have been like yesterday. We've been testing drones a long time, and they weren't always public knowledge. What happens when something crashes that you don't know about? Or maybe another country was testing a drone. You see what I mean? Huge holes that are there that can be explained by something very simple. A drone is an unidentified flying object, and it could have been at any time since the 1940s. like it could have been any time.
Craft stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
So why would she say bodies of the pilots? Why would she even insinuate that they're pilots? Right? That's a misdirection. Because you're going to assume that the answer is relating to pilots, and assume that that whatever he's talking about is pilots. But nowhere did it say that there were actually pilots. Nowhere did they say they were actually pilots. Now, listen, they're just UFOs, right?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
So what are biologics? Anything living, literally anything living. Anything that living or dead is biologics. You know, did it have a biological origin? Then it's biologics. It could, right?
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
You know what? Yesterday, I ate non-human biologics. That was the assessment of many people with direct knowledge of the events. I ate non-human biologics. They were delicious. I went to this place called Icarus Wings, and I watched Sweden right at the end of the first half, got 3 amazing goals against Italy in the World Cup. It was amazing goals. They were great goals. And I ate I ordered chicken, and this time I ordered a 10-piece chicken because it was really good. What I found, and some salad, which was really good, and a beer, which kicked me, an IPA, which again I knew it kicked me in the face, but it was all right. I mean, it went with the meal, so it was good. Yeah, it was really good. And I found that if I eat, it's like the World of Warcraft thing. Like it's real. You can, if I eat a whole bunch of chicken or like any protein, I feel like really good. I'm well fed. I get a buff. So the thing is that the key point you have to understand is that I ate non-human biologics, and they were delicious. Don't let yourself get tricked by language. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm showing you.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would...
See, like, no, at no point did he say the biologics belong to the pilot. At no point. Never did he say, oh yeah, this was the pilot. But the question puts that in your brain to think that whatever they found in the plane is going to be the pilot. She put that in your brain. It wasn't there. She put it in your brain. So in order to misdirect you. And then, yeah, if you're not careful, you could be like, oh, non-human pilot, huh? No one said it was a pilot. They said it was non-human biologics. And non-human biologics could be anything biological. I ate chicken and it was delicious. That's non-human biologics.
that be determined?
The specific documentation, I would have to talk to you in a skip.
And then so they do all this fancy talk in order to like make it sound way bigger than it actually is, right? It's a fucking mouse. It's a mouse. I mean, not literally a mouse, but I am like 99% sure, 99.99% sure that what they're talking about is a drone, early drone program that had biological creatures like riding on them. Like a mouse, a cat, a dog, It could have been any time. It could have been from any country. Maybe Russia infected a bunch of rats with bubonic plague, put them on a drone, and then flew them over to the United States, hoping to create like the bubonic plague in the United States, right? Biological warfare. It could have been in the 50s or 60s. They don't give you a time frame. Like it's a huge fucking cloud of nothing. That's a distraction from climate change, which is actual, real, you can see with your senses. Oh my gosh. But don't let yourself get tricked. That's what I mean, right? Everybody has the potential to get tricked. Even people who are smart can get tricked. I get tricked all the time. It sucks. I want to think like, oh yeah, I'm fucking cool, right? How do you think I learned about being tricked? Because I got tricked myself. So, you got to be careful. Got to be careful. All right. Let me give you an example here.
Under the First Amendment to express concerns that they have about what they perceive to be unequal treatment of the law, but I'm not concerned about it beyond that.
That's pretty remarkable that you're not concerned about it, given the fact that they wanted to hang you on January 6th. I want to move on to.
Yep. It's amazing that Mike Pence does not care. Is saying that it's not concerning that Donald Trump sent a mob to go murder him and Nancy Pelosi and any member of Congress they can get their hands on. It's kind of remarkable. Now, look at how Mike Pence uses language. Look at how he talks.
To the issues that you were talking about.
Well,
So she tries to move on, right? She tries to be like, yep, that's what it is. Mike Pence just said he's not concerned that people tried to kill him on January 6th. No, Mike Pence is going to try to do damage control because he realized he got caught. So he's got to fix it.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I want to say to you, there's been an effort to take those that perpetrated violence on January 6th and use a broad brush to describe everyone in our movement.
No, I didn't mean to do that.
It might be true that some people are trying to do that, but that has nothing to do with what the fact that Donald Trump sent a mob to kill him and Nancy Pelosi. That part is true. So he tried to minimize, try to discredit the criticism by conflating the people who didn't even get charged. They just showed up at the thing and they left. With the people who were threatening cops and beating up cops. He's trying to make them this, trying to say, anyways.
It's not the case. The people in this movement, the people who rallied behind our cause in 2016 and 2020 are the most God-fearing, law-abiding, patriotic people.
Really? This guy? Enrico Taro. This guy was part of a movement, a white supremacist gang. He's a leader of the white supremacist gang. Who was used to help overthrow the government of the United States on January 6th. The Proud Boys are literally a gang. They're a white supremacist gang. Mike Pence is saying that this guy is cool. What's wrong with Mike Pence? He's a convicted traitor. He's convicted of seditious conspiracy. The reason why there was a mob there, the reason why there was all those people there is because they were unwittingly or not part of a giant attempt to overthrow the government of the United States on January 6th. He was part of it. Mike Pence cannot hide. But he's trying to, right? He's trying to not piss off Donald Trump. Why, dude? Donald Trump is a mob boss. Why would you even care about him?
In this country, and I won't stand for those kind of generalizations.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Sure, Mike Pence. You won't stand for it. Yeah, right. Okay. Oregon man. arrested in Portland on allegations of civil disorder in January 6th U.S. Capitol breach. This happened this week, dude. This happened this week. So there's still, law enforcement is still going after the people of January 6th. What else do I got here? Yeah, look at this. Texas is charging prisoners 50% more for bottled water as they struggle to endure a deadly heat wave in facilities without air conditioning. Yeah, why are incarcerated people being charged for water? I mean, that's slavery, dudes. That's slavery. If you're incarcerated and they're making you work for just to survive, that's slavery. Texas has slavery. Like, are you guys getting it? Texas is a slaver state. The government of Texas is a slaver government. Republicans are slavers. Slavery didn't go away. It just got it just changed form. Look what else happened. Texas A&M suspended respected opioids expert accused of criticizing Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick in a lecture. The complaint began with Land Commissioner Don Buckingham, whose daughter attended the lecture. So, in other words, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick appoints the person Don Buckingham. He's the Dan Patrick is the boss of Don Buckingham. Don Buckingham's daughter went to college and heard a college professor, really smart, right? They're really smart. They have the authority to speak because they have the knowledge, and everyone recognizes it. They have the authority to speak. They have the knowledge. So this professor in the house of knowledge where they're supposed to be speaking spoke a truth, and the truth reflects badly upon Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. The truth reflects badly upon the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who is the boss of Don Buckingham. So the daughter used the power of the state to attack the professor for speaking the truth. The daughter made a complaint to the university, and the university fired the professor. Why? Because she criticized the state. What kind of government fires you for criticizing the state? A fascist government, an authoritarian government, a slaver government. A slaver government does that. Texas is a slavers-controlled state. Slavers control the state of Texas. They're not a free state. Texas professor suspended hours after criticizing lieutenant governor in lecture. Joy Alonzo accused by student of disparaging Dan Patrick, which is like, and we know that the student is the daughter. So it's almost like 1984, like spies, like white supremacist spies are like ratting out on people who speak the truth. It's the same thing, dude. White supremacists. Because what government is upheld by suspending this professor, the slaver government, through illegitimate means. I mean, there's literally a slaver government, dude. Republicans are a slaver government. Here's a Proud Boy, not arrested for mass murder, but Alan Swindler, a Proud Boy from Sutherland, Oregon, is in jail for murder. Him and his girlfriend are charged with killing a man and his dog in Canyonville on June 25th. So those are the Proud Boys, right? They're a violent gang. They're a gang. and they're violent. They're a white supremacist gang. They're not democratic. They're not patriotic. They're a gang, a white supremacist gang. And they go into towns and create terror. They try to terrorize the town. Portland is a great fucking town. I love Portland. Portland's a fantastic town. Man, I first went to Portland years and years and years ago. It was mythical, right? It was the mythical time in the 90s. When Portland was like amazing. It was supposed to be amazing. But to me it was. I came from Carson City, Nevada. Carson City, Nevada to go to Portland, dude. And you have to understand, Carson's got like no rain. It's a desert. It's hot and dry and deserty and like sparse. Huge amounts of space between everything. Lots and lots of space between people. Like it's hard to like even meet people because there's so much space between you. So Portland was like the magical, mystical place where it was wet and humid and always like there's good culture everywhere and coffee shops and like for me, it'd be girls, right? Girls. I want to find a girlfriend. So I'm like, yes, a town, like my vibe kind of town. Like, I love Portland. Like, it's always been a great place to go. They always have shit going on. They always have nice, forward-thinking policies. Like, Portland's great. But the rural areas, the right-wingers, the white supremacists hate what Portland stands for. They hate it. They hate it. So they come from out of town. They organize using the internet to take their big ass bus, a black bus, to come out of town to cause problems in Portland. And yeah, when you're dealing with multiple things at once, like a federal invasion and a fascist invasion by a white supremacist gang, it's going to look ugly. You're going to have a hard time dealing with issues all at once. But you have to understand and keep in mind that the people who do it, the people who instigated this attack on Portland, came from the rural areas. And they're a white supremacist gang. They're a white supremacist gang. So how do I know that RFK Jr. is also a Nazi? How do I know RFK Jr. is a Nazi? This is how I let you know. Brooke Banowski says, this is not a particularly subtle white supremacist dog whistle. This is a tweet by Robert F. Kennedy. And he mentions right next to each other 1488. What is the significance of the code 14? Remember, white supremacists talk to each other in code. White supremacists always talk to each other in code. What is the significance of 1488? What does that even talk about? There he is again. So what is he talking about? Let's study. 14 words. 14 words, also abbreviated 14 or 1488, is a reference to two slogans originated by David Eden Lane, one of 9 founding members of the defunct white supremacist terrorist organization, The Order, now reconstituted as the Republican Party, as the Proud Boys, as 3%ers, as Patriot Front, and are accompanied by Lane's 88 precepts. The primary slogan in the 14 words is, we must secure the existence of our people. You see that? Our people, and a future for white children. Right? That's their slogan. So they assume they put priority on white. They put priority on white, and and then the second slogan like clarifies, because the beauty of the white Aryan whatever woman the woman is an object, right? The woman's not a person. The woman's not a human. The woman is an object. The children are objects. The women and children are objects of white supremacy. Do you understand? Do you see that? So The two slogans were coined prior to Lane serving a 190-year sentence in federal prison for violating the civil rights of the Jewish talk show host Alan Berg, who was murdered by another member of the group in June 1984. They were popularized heavily after Lane's imprisonment. Lane used the 1488 numerical coding extensively throughout his spiritual, political, religious, esoteric, and philosophical tracts, and notably in his 88 Precepts Manifesto, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. The 14 words have been prominently used by neo-Nazis, white power skinheads, and certain white nationalists and the alt-right. 88 is used by some as a shorthand for Heil Hitler, H being the 8th letter of the alphabet, though Lane viewed Nazism as part of the Zionist conspiracy along with America. Why would Lane view the United America as part of the Zionist conspiracy? What is like this Zionist conspiracy? He viewed America as his enemy, is what he's saying. He viewed the Americans as enemies. That's what he's telling you. He views the Americans as enemies. White supremacists view Americans as enemies. Get that point clear. White supremacists view Americans as enemies. This is a code, right? That Sean Cruz here is letting other Nazis know that he's a Nazi, because he is affirming the Nazi belief that diversity is the code word for white genocide. He believes in the idea of white genocide, which is a white supremacist, white nationalist idea. It's not real. It's not real, but he's promoting it. Okay. I can't read it. Lane's ideology was anti-American. Get that straight. Lane is anti-American. He's anti-American. By his own words, he's anti-American. It's his own words will tell you, right? If you follow anything by this dude, it is inherently anti-American. Inherently. The founder will fucking tell you himself. He did tell you himself. Okay. Lane's ideology was anti-American, white separatist, and insurrectionist. He considered loyalty to the United States to be racial treason. I pledge allegiance to the United States. I've done so many, 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 many times already. So he considers me a race traitor. All right. I fucking wear that as a badge of honor. To be called a race traitor by a white supremacist is fantastic. It's the right kind of enemy. So Lane upheld the acronym Orion. Oh, I didn't know that. They're trying to steal Orion. So when I lived in Carson City, I didn't live in the city of Carson City. I didn't live in the city town of Minden Gardnerville. I lived in the boondocks known as, and I didn't live out in the ranches of Johnson Lane. I lived in the boondocks of Indian Hills. So, and I would go out. Oh yeah, and I would go out to the hot springs that were there. You know, there were natural hot springs on someone's property, and for some reason, I found out about it. People started finding out about it, and when you're like a underage kid with a car, there's in Carson City, like in the desert, there's absolutely nothing to do. There's nothing to do. So, so I would get in the we would go do whatever we fucking could. Anything we could do, we would do. And some of it was bad and some of it was good. One of the things we did was I had a car. So one of the things we did is get in my car and go down to the hot springs. And you could do it in wintertime, right? Because even though it was like 10 degrees outside. Even if it was 10 degrees outside, the water was fucking hot, nice and warm. There were two pools, the lower pool and the upper pool. The upper pool was pretty fucking warm, but it was deeper and smaller. The lower pool was big, was a lot bigger, but it was cooler and it was flatter, so like shallower. And it was just built up by dams that people made of rocks, and the water just came up, just blowed up, literally just blowed up out of the ground, and it was hot. It was fucking super hot up at the source. You couldn't even touch it. It was so hot, and so it would go down through the desert a while until it got to like the hot lower pool. The hot pool, that was the hot upper pool, and then the cool lower pool. Anyways, so one winter I was there, and out there it's the desert. There's no light pollution, and I would look up and I would see. It was easy to see the Big Dipper. It was easy. It was totally easy to see the Big Dipper. It was easy to see, and I always looked for Orion, and Orion's belt. I can't. Not now, dude. Okay. I was always looking for Orion and Orion's belt. And it was great, right? I could see it. And it was like I could see how Orion would rotate. I could see how Orion would like as the Earth would go around, Orion would rotate. And it was cool. Right? It had nothing associated with white supremacy. But there was also another thing that happened. There was another thing that happened there. One night, I was there in the winter. I was there with a bunch of female friends and another guy. And, there's no law. There wasn't like any police officers. There was no like authority there. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. So so we were there one night, and it was cold, right? It was pretty cold, and it was me, another guy, and like four women, and the lower pool was pretty cold because it was cold, so we all moved to the upper pool, and there were already some like football player guys there. And of course we skinny dip, right? That's how you do it. You skinny dip. You don't go in there with clothes. You go in there with like naked. So we go to the upper pool with these guys that were already up there, and we're hanging out. And two of the girls started like kind of messing with one of the dudes. I guess they're on a trip of discovering the power of their sexuality, and they were using it on this guy, on this. And he was there with like four other friends of his. And they were drinking, and it's hot water. So yeah, they started messing with this guy, like teasing him, and then pushing him away. And then it started getting like catty, like kind of bad. And then he started acting like pretty like gruff toward the women. And I'm like, oh, I'm feeling tension happening, and I'm looking around, and like the other guy's not doing anything. He's just like, So I'm the one who spoke up and said, hey, leave the women alone, leave the girls alone. And by doing that, I got their attention. I did. I guess that's not a taunt. I did. I guess I got their attention, and they all focused on me. So I got these fucking four big ass dudes who I don't even know. I can't even see. Like I'm in the dark with like in the water, in hot ass water in the wintertime, with a bunch of like girls like cowering in the corner and a dude cowering next to me not doing anything, and I'm the one who says something, and all four of these guys fucking turn on me, and they surround me, and like they're trying to get me to stand up to like fight, but I'm like in the water next to a rock dam behind me in the winter out in the fucking desert. Like I'm not fucking fighting. I'm not getting up to fight because I'm gonna get my ass kicked and probably die. Nope. But yeah, it was fucked up. It was fucked up. And yeah, it was fucked up. And then eventually they left. I mean, eventually they moved away, and then we all left. We just fucking got out of there. Scared the shit out of me. Scared the shit out of me. So that kind of ruined the hot springs after that. And the police came by and shut the whole thing down, and they fenced it off so no one could access it. It wasn't just that. People would go up there and fucking pass out and die. They drink alcohol in the hot water, and then they'd like just die. They pass out. Or there'd be fights. The police were always getting called out there, and the owner just finally fenced it off. So, anyways, Orion, dude, I don't want Orion to be taken by white supremacists. That's you know, he's the hunter. Like, I like that guy, and I like the way he rotates. Anyways, back to RFK as a Nazi. So Lane, the dude who made 1488, viewed the United States as his enemy. And he views the United States as committing genocide against white people. That's how come I know that Sean Cruz is a Nazi. Well, a white supremacist. Because he's repeating Lane's idea of white genocide. There's no such thing as white genocide. White people are not going to be systematically murdered by the machine of society. There's not a systematic bias against white people in the United States. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing. It's not real. It's a delusion created by white supremacists and injected upon their kids so that they reproduce it over and over and over again. They told you as much, that women and children are their objects onto which they inject their ideology and worship of the white idol. That's what they worship. They worship the white idol. They have absolutely nothing to do with any of the gods out there except the white idol. That's what they worship. They can try to claim that they're following the Nordic gods or the pagan gods or whatever, but they're not actually doing that. They're following the white idol. The idea that racial hierarchy is the number one good. That's what they stand for. That's what they stand for, and that is their idol, the white idol. They say so in their code. They tell you themselves in their code, and that's how come I know RFK Jr. is a white supremacist, because he fucking used it. He used their code. He used their code in his tweet to talk to them. And his enemy is the United States. So you know that his enemy is the United States. And if he's criticizing Biden, it's because Biden is an American. That's why. Like, I can accept criticism of Biden from another American. Okay, I will not accept criticism of Biden from a white supremacist. It's invalid. Anything a white supremacist says is invalid. They don't get free speech because what they say is shit. So here is what we know about the unverified allegations. Number one, Trump's DOJ, not Biden, not Merrick Garland, Donald Trump and Billy Barr has the information. They had the information about Hunter Biden. They had the information already. And it did not, and they themselves did not find it sufficiently credible to investigate. Donald Trump already had the laptop. Donald Trump's administration, under Donald Trump, Billy Barr already had the laptop, Hunter's laptop, and didn't want to do an investigation into it because there wasn't enough there, because there was a bunch of bullshit. Number two, the source of the information subsequently denied it. So how can you involve an investigation on information that was denied by the person who supposedly gave it? It's like They're telling you that it's not real. How can you base your investigation on what they say if the person that you say said it is saying, no, I didn't. I didn't say that. It's fake. That's false. How can you do an investigation? Number 3, the Burisma Russian propaganda has been repeatedly debunked already. So what they're trying to do, remember, is flood the zone. They're trying to put so much disinformation and insinuation that people tune out and they can't understand what's happening and they think both sides are the same and they just give up. They become cynical. I've heard it a lot from people. I hear it all the time. From demoralized Americans who just give up on the idea of truth and assume that they can't possibly know. And I'm telling you, yes, you can. You can know the truth. You can know the truth. You are capable and able to understand because you have the capacity for reason. You don't need a God. You don't need a specific. You don't need to point to like any one deity or whatever. You can do it yourself. Use the power of reason to free yourself. You can do it. You can do it. Like, I'm giving you all this information, so it's because it's a lockpick. It'll help you to pick the locks of the delusions that they put upon you when you were a kid. Because they try real hard to put upon your head little blinders so that you never question the racial hierarchy. You never question the things around you. The last thing a fish is going to notice is the water in which it swims. Until it starts being killed by it with global warming. So we got Chuck Grassley, head of the Oversight Committee, using his power. Is it Grassley? Using his power to attack Joe Biden using Russian propaganda. That's the weaponization of government. Chuck Grassley is weaponizing government, using Russian propaganda to attack Joe Biden on baseless accusations that even Donald Trump's DOJ didn't want to use. Why aren't we talking about the Saudi Kushner deal? This $2 billion payout for Jared Kushner sure looks like a kickback for the $110 billion arms deal Kushner orchestrated from the White House. So, in other words, the United States under Donald Trump sold $110 billion worth of U.S. arms to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia uses the U.S. weapons to attack Yemen, which is like a tiny-ass, poor fucking country. And they've had a civil war for years and years and years in which the civilian population suffers greatly. And why can the Saudis do this? Because they're supplied by the Americans. Why are they supplied by the Americans? Because the Americans sold them $110 billion worth of arms. Why would the Americans sell the Saudis $110 billion worth of arms? Why would the Americans do that? Because this American, Jared Kushner, got a kickback. He got $2 billion for orchestrating the deal. That's why. Do you want the country that sent the hijackers to do 9/11? Do you want them buying our weapons? Do you think they're going to be good stewards of our weapons? Why would you do that, Jared Kushner? Why would you do that? Oh, because they gave you $2 billion. Let me think. If the Saudis offered me $2 billion to betray my country, would I do it? I would hope not. I would hope not. Like, I don't know for sure because it's never been offered. I would hope that I would not give up. I would not betray my country for $2 billion. I had conversations with people, but it was never like that. Not straight up fucking, let me give you some fucking weapons that you can use against us. Never. No way. Holy shit. Yeah, dude, I talked to Russians in 2007. Some of them are good people. Some of the Russians are good people. But they're in a bad situation. It's hard to be a good person if you live in Russia. Ooh, that's so weird. That's so weird to think of Thailand as a neutral territory. Anyways, Jared Kushner fucking straight up gave Saudis a whole bunch, $110 billion arms deal, and for a kickback of $2 billion. And Republicans are totally cool with it. They don't even care. They have no idea about it. Uh-huh. Yet, they'll weaponize government to go after Hunter Biden for taxes. Them's the facts, dudes. Them's the facts. Just because Saudi Arabia can afford to pay $100 billion for U.S. weapons and another $2 billion investment kickback for Jared Kushner doesn't mean they will use those weapons responsibly. And they don't. Saudi-led airstrike in Yemen have been called war crimes. So Saudis are using our weapons to commit war crimes. Who gave them those weapons? The Donald Trump administration. Because Jared Kushner got a kickback from it. Jared Kushner, son-in-law of Donald Trump, was in U.S. government and had access he shouldn't have had to U.S. information to make a deal favorable to Donald Trump. Not good for the United States, but good for Donald Trump and his family. Duncan McIntosh at a conference funded in part by Lockheed Martin says selling arms to wealthy nations advances moral progress because being wealthy tends to go hand in hand with being a morally better culture and one that ought to therefore prevail. So in other words, he's saying might makes right. That's exactly Nazi thinking. That's Nazi logic. He's telling you that if you're rich, you must be good. That's fascist logic. That's the logic of the kings. Prosperity gospel. That's bullshit. We know that's bullshit. We know that just because you're rich doesn't mean you're good. In fact, you're probably bad. Like, you don't get rich accidentally. Most people don't get rich accidentally. Such is the effective altruism of the defense industry. The more money we make selling weapons to the Saudis, the more we advance moral progress because Saudi wealth goes hand in hand with being morally better and the people they are bombing. Jared made money from this arrangement. Jared made money from this. It's evil logic, and Jared made money from it. Republicans don't care. They want you to be blind to the fact that they already weaponized government. They already used the dad's influence to make money for their family. The things they accused Hunter Biden have already been done by Jared Kushner, and they're projecting it upon Hunter Biden as a way of misdirecting you so you don't notice, right? All sorts of ways to misdirect you and to misdirect your perception. All sorts of ways. Because remember, the thing that is under attack, the number one thing that is under attack is your perception of reality. Always remember that the number one thing under attack by your enemies is your perception of reality. They're coming after your perception of reality. So you must maintain a clear vision of what's happening, an awareness of what's happening, a consciousness of what's happening. And I've already showed you, I've already demonstrated how they can manipulate people, like the UFO things, right? The UFO thing is a perfect example of how they manipulate people, creating an air of uncertainty, which you fill in with your imagination. They're going to do the same thing to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, but malignantly. They do it to make you fill in bad information into the holes they leave you. All right, Steve Ducey.
First step, impeachment inquiry. Almost always it leads to an impeachment. I've heard from members of Congress on the Republican side, they're going to do the I word of Joe Biden. That guy right there doesn't look too happy in that picture. And they're going to use the 1023 form as the basis for everything. Here's the problem, and we'll talk to Miranda Devine about this here in about a half an hour, is the 1023 form makes a damning case against the Bidens, but it's completely unverified. And in fact, there are certain critical parts of the story that have been refuted by the people in the story. So it's problematic, and so that's why Kevin McCarthy says we need other stuff, more documents.
There's nothing there. They want to impeach Biden, but they can't because there's no crime. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb because they're not using impeachment for justice. They're using impeachment as a weapon, as revenge. They want revenge. Oh no, I missed. Okay. Oh no! Oh, damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, see? I can't be standing out in the middle of nowhere. Dude, he took half my health. I thought I was safe. Uh-oh. I better scram. Yeah, a little hard to shoot an arrow from flying. I need like a gun. Okay. Oh, I got one. Look at all these Endermen. Oh no, I've got the debuff. I gotta go drink milk. Emergency milk. Emergency milk. Hey! Yo, wise mystic tree. Yes, yes. Hey, dude, I've been excellent. I'm just hanging out, man. Oh yeah. I got tired of hoofing it everywhere, and it makes it hard to understand like where it is that I live if I'm always like on the ground. So it was good. It was good to get wings. But check it out, dude. It's not just elytra wings. It's the flight mod. It's the flight mod. I love this thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh man. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't know. I had no idea. So yeah, oh, this, there we go. All right, I'll chill out here. I'll chill out a little bit. Check out this mod, right? This is nice. It's the better third person mod. It kind of works sometimes. It's a little bit tricky, but yeah. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Let's go to the Warded Grove. So, okay, so yeah, dude, what I'm doing. What I'm talking about. Oh, what was I talking about? What was I talking about? I got totally off my topic here. Oh yeah, I was looking for what else to talk about. I finished that train station a while ago, man. I mean, it's not really finished. It's just like it still has stuff to go. I have other tracks. Like I made one track to a village. I'm gonna make another track to another village. Is that not so cool? I love the way that the redstone makes the shadows. So neat, so neat. Putin, okay, what happened with Putin in South Africa? Putin backed down, dude. Putin said no way and backed down. He wanted to go to the event. He wanted to go, but he got denied. He was afraid of getting arrested. I'm gonna make coffee. Hold on. Putin was afraid of getting arrested, so he decided not to go down to South Africa, which is good, right? Because Putin should be shunned. Bad people should be shunned. Shun the bad people. I mean, at heart, Putin is a white supremacist and a criminal. So his ideology is incompatible with the ideology of the West, which is to peacefully and justly prosper, so that everyone's able to survive and everyone's able to experience life with freedom, justice, and liberty. Oh, that's gross. That's still there. Trying to scrub this bad stuff off the bottom. How is this even possible? Okay, coffee on. Man, I really should have got a breakfast burrito before I did this. He said something about what? I can't read it. He said something about war, and I didn't know what was happening. Well, generally anything that Putin says about war is bullshit. What Russia fucking ended the grain deal, dude. Russia ended the grain deal. Why would we hang out with Russia if they hang out if they're doing this stuff? They can't be trusted. They can't be trusted. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba ba. Yeah, don't listen to Putin. What I'm excited for are the F-16s. I can't wait for the F-16s to show up. F-16s will solve a lot of problems for the Ukrainians. I know that Poland and Lithuania are going to close their borders with Belarus because the Wagner group is going down there to cause problems. It's going to be the little green men thing that they did with Ukraine. They're going to take off their uniforms but act on behalf of Russia. So we got to be careful there. I think Poland's ready. Poland's pretty stacked. And we got troops over in Poland. So, but that's the thing. That's the only hope that they have is to cause problems with NATO, because Putin's is slipping. He's slipping. The offensive is going according to plan. Everyone wanted Ukraine to have a lightning offensive where they like quickly take over everything, but it doesn't really work like that. Like, I'm not a war guy, so I don't really know, but I'm not in a hurry for Ukraine to do what it needs to do. We're a long way from winter. Okay, what else do I got going on? Trump stole nuclear secrets. It didn't pop up, huh? Why the fuck not? Here. Let me try this again. Oh, it's off to the side. Okay. In friend view. Oh, dude, this is hella loud. Do you really want to hang out here? So, here's the problem I have. A bunch of crap is in here. I don't want most of this stuff. I want the gunpowder, but that's about it. So I gotta find a way to sort all this stuff out. So I'll have to make an entire episode of me just doing that. I can't hang out here, it's too loud. I should get more coffee. Let's see. Let me get more coffee, and I'll come back to this. I put the pot on. It's going. Okay, what am I doing? Ow. Okay. Another thing Lisa Rubin says, another thing I only appreciated on a closer, slower reading. The special counsel has a list of those federal agencies, departments with a stake in the classified documents at issue. They include the Department of Energy. Why? Oh yeah, dude, I'm gonna make an auto sorter. I'm gonna make an auto sorter for for the mob farm, but not now. I have to do it during an episode where it's a Let's Play episode. This is like the information episode. Okay, so why is the Department of Energy included in the list of agencies that the special counsel has said they have a stake in it? Because, as the indictment states, the Department of Energy is responsible for maintaining a safe, secure, and effective nuclear deterrent to protect national security, including ensuring the effectiveness of the U.S. state's nuclear weapon stockpile without nuclear explosive testing. In other words, it's not just that one or more of the documents addressed other countries' nuclear capabilities. It's at least one of those in counts 1-32 implicates our own information nuclear stockpile was stolen by Donald Trump. Not just a foreigner, but also our own. Donald Trump stole U.S. nuclear secrets and put them in a place that Chinese government spies could get them. And indeed, the document at issue is count 19 is described as concerning nuclear weaponry of the United States. So, yes, Donald Trump stole U.S. nuclear secrets. Just like Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who were executed by the United States for treason and espionage. Less inflammatory, but still significant, are signs of the breadth of the evidence the special counsel team has. While the indictment has long been chock full of Nauta's texts, it's easier to overlook direct quotes from texts only involving other folks. Take the text exchange in paragraph 28, for example, where Trump employees 1 and number 2 discussed in April 2021 where to move Trump's boxes to make room for a staff office. Whose phone did that come from? Employee 2, thought to be former executive assistant Molly Michael, or employee number 1? Similarly, in paragraph 80, part of the new allegations, there's a text between De Oliveira, and Trump's employee number 4, thought to be Yusil Taveras, an IT staffer at Mar-a-Lago. Has Taveras' phone been turned over via subpoena or voluntarily? Or do the feds have De Oliveira's? There are also indicia that while Trump may have not texted or emailed on his own devices, he used his staff's phone. The employee believed to be Michael tells Nauta via text in December 2021, "I'm sorry, POTUS had my phone." Let's assume Donald Trump used staff phones during his White House years to circumvent White House record keeping and or to avoid certain bureaucratic steps, which are not exactly kosher to begin with. But what reasons could he have for doing so in his post-White House life? Empty Wheel responds, saying, he was in contact with people he shouldn't have been. This started in 2016 when people were trying to keep him away from Roger Stone, and he used about 5 different people's phones to contact Stone. Remember, Donald Trump did witness tampering to Roger Stone to let him know that if he went down, if he didn't rat out Donald Trump, that Donald Trump would give him a pardon. That's called witness tampering. He already did it. He's already done it. And he avoids it by using other people's phones so that you can't trace it back to him. He's a criminal. During those 150 social events at Mar-a-Lago, there's plenty of photo evidence that the doors to the basement storage area were frequently open and unattended during the events. The pool room. You can check out all the entrances are wide open. So Lisa Rubin says, I'm reading the superseding indictment, and details that have been there since the start are still gobsmacking. Among them, that between January 2021 and August 2022, when the FBI conducted its court-authorized search of Mar-a-Lago, Mar-a-Lago hosted 150 social events. And at these events, where anybody who paid money could get into, you had wide open access to the rooms you needed to in order to read classified information that Donald Trump left wide open. The only way you could believe that Donald Trump is innocent of his crimes is if you believe in the same thing as that Lane guy. Where's he at? Where's that Lane guy? Because this Lane dude, what's his fucking name? This Nazi. David Eden Lane. Lane's ideology was anti-American, white supremacist, and insurrectionist. The only way you could agree, the only way you can say that Donald Trump isn't a criminal is if you agree with David Lane and don't feel that the United States is legitimate. I mean, maybe if you're an American Indian, you don't want to believe the American government is legitimate. Okay. But that's different. I'm talking about white supremacists. Donald Trump has already been arrested. Oh yeah, that David Lane guy is in prison for 190 years. David Lane is in prison for 190 years. He's a white supremacist. Donald Trump will be arrested, I believe, next week. When you are indicted, when you are federally indicted, you have to travel to the city and undergo processing. So that means Donald Trump has to fly to Washington, D.C. and get his fingerprints taken and his mugshot taken. Like he got to avoid that in Florida because Florida is controlled by white supremacists. So they don't want to subject Donald Trump to the things they subject other people to. But D.C. is not controlled by white supremacists. So they will treat Donald Trump just like they treat everybody else. So that means Donald Trump will be arrested, have his fingerprints taken, and his mugshot taken. So remember, Donald Trump is not planning on winning the cases through the evidence. The evidence is damning. The evidence is overwhelming. Donald Trump cannot prevail using the evidence against those court cases. His plan is go to the Supreme Court, because at the Supreme Court, then he has people in power that he can use. So this shouldn't, Laura Jarrett says, this shouldn't get lost in the shuffle today, as prosecutors are mystified about how Trump can be asking to discuss classified discovery outside of a classified setting, in the case where he's been charged with mishandling classified documents. So in other words, defendant Trump requests that he be permitted to discuss classified information with his counsel outside secure conference information or information forums, room, whatever. I don't know what that acronym stands for, but it's for where you discuss. So he wants to talk about classified information outside of classified settings. Why would he want to do that? Well, it's a bullshit thing, right? It's stupid. It's like a dumb thing to do. Like, everyone can see that it's dumb on its face. But if he can push it and it'll get appealed by the 11th Circuit Court, then he has grounds for appeal. He won't appeal on the evidence. He'll appeal on technicalities. And Judge Eileen Cannon will help him to set up a case that he can appeal on technicalities. And then he's going to then skip like the 11th Circuit Court and go to the Supreme Court, where he's already got guys there, right? We already know at least 2 justices are bribed, openly bribed. Justice Alito and and Clarence Thomas. Sammy Alito and Clarence Thomas are both corrupt and bribed. Already we know this. And we know the rest of the Republican bench is corrupt. So that's why Donald Trump wants to push the case up to the Supreme Court, because they're going to do the same thing to him that the Supreme Court did for George W. Bush in the year 2000. And they're hoping the American people are just going to roll over and take it. That's what they're planning. That's their plan. So you have to remember that it's already Donald Trump has been infiltrated by spies, by a bunch of spies. Here's one. Ina Yaschishian, a self-confessed grifter linked to fraudulent charity, posed as a member of one of the world's most famous banking families, gained access to Donald Trump's Florida's home, and mingled with top Republicans. Ina Yaschishian, alias Anna de Rothschild, was invited to Mar-a-Lago and posed as a member of the European banking dynasty. Yaschishian is linked to a fake charity and other fraudulent ventures. Her dealings are being investigated by law enforcement in both Canada and the U.S. The revelations raise security concerns about how she was able to mix freely at Mar-a-Lago with the ex-president and other prominent political figures. Like, how is it possible that she was just totally fraudulent? She's not a real person, dude. She's not a Rothschild. She's not rich. She's a grifter. She's a grifter. And she convinced all these people around Donald Trump and Donald Trump himself that she was somebody she was not. And that gave her incredible access to a whole bunch of people, including Donald Trump himself. Like, imagine the fucking field day that foreign spies had at Mar-a-Lago. Just imagine the field day they had. Like, I can't get over it. Like, that any American would still be on the fence about Donald Trump. Like, if you're a supporter of Donald Trump, it's because you're fucking brainwashed. And you're an enemy. You're literally an enemy of the United States. Because you're parodying the same philosophy as a fucking felon who's in prison for 190 years. I love you, America. I'm sorry to be so harsh and angry. I just get very frustrated. Like, that guy, that neighbor guy who I left out there with that cop. Like, I hope he's okay, dude. I should have been more friendly to him. But I didn't know quite how to... I wanted to respect his space. And, like, you know, I didn't want to fucking start prying into his shit like the way that cop did. Like, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous, dude. Buddy, I'll be your friend. I'll be your pal. I'll fucking tell you what's up. And don't listen to white supremacists, though. Don't listen to that cop. Shit. But yeah, look how easily Republicans are tricked. If she can do this, imagine what actual spies could do. Jeez Louise. The only way you could be okay with this is if you're against America, if you're against the United States. And we know the people who are against the United States are fucking white supremacists. We already know that. We can look at their founder. There she is again, hanging out with all these fucking rich-ass people at Mar-a-Lago. There she is. There she is. How did like, spies must have had a field day. So easy. It was so easy for them. Donald Trump made it so easy for spies to get all up in our shit. The fact that Yaschishian was apparently granted easy access to what Trump dubbed his winter White House is more troubling when viewed against the backdrop of the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago on August 8th to seize classified documents as part of a federal investigation. Photos and videos from May 2021 obtained by the Post-Gazette and OCCRP show Yaschishian was quite convincing as an imposter Rothschild, a fact confirmed by interviews with multiple people who met her at the resort. It wasn't just dropping the family name. She talked about vineyards and family estates and growing up in Monaco, said John Lefebvre, a former investment banker and author. Lefebvre described gathering with her gathering with her with other guests around a club pool on May 1st. By the next day, Yashishin had access to the former U.S. President, Republican U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, and other political luminaries Trump regularly attracts to his Florida home, the epicenter of today's Republican Party. Yashishin said in sworn statements made as part of her U.S. court dispute with her former partner Tarasenko that she has never used another name and has not broken any laws. In an interview with the Post-Gazette, she said she did not know Anna de Rothschild. She's fucking lying, dude. I think there's some misunderstanding, she said. Yashishin said any passports or driver's license with the Rothschild's name and her photo have been fabricated by Tarasenko or his family. They're all fake and nothing happened. We have fucking photos, dude. Come on. Now, they sent detailed questions to her, but she didn't fucking respond because they would expose her as a fucking spy. Dude, it was so easy to break into Mar-a-Lago. It was so easy to take those secrets. It was so hard to get those secrets that you had to be the president of the United States to get them. That's how hard it was to get them. And he made it so easy to get them after. He took them to his place where it was so easy that a fraudster, a criminal could fucking get access to them. Man, I just don't know like how much more I can tell you to make it clear. Talk about Israel. People need to stop ignoring the way Israel, Bibi above all, has been happy to tamper in U.S. politics. Bibi has been negotiating side deals with the GOP for some time. It was Trump's first back-channel cooperation with Russia. Right? If you want to talk about the 2016 coup, I guess Bibi is the one who arranged for that to take place. He is the one who made it happen. He is the one who facilitated the overthrow of the United States government in 2016. In this case, you have a party with a significant component of fascists led by an authoritarian demagogue who will be all too happy to make it difficult to sideline Israel as it dispenses with the trappings of democracy for non-Muslims. Right? Bibi represents fascism. He represents fascism and it's turning Israel into a fascist state. And the way he does is that he commits ethnic genocide against the Palestinians. That's how he does it. And he is happy to ally with the fascists in the United States and the fascists in Russia if it will help out Israel under fascist Israel. Like, is there even an Israel? Like, what happened? Isn't there supposed to be a Palestine also? How can there be an Israel without a Palestine? That's like the founding document. That's like the paper that even says, like, you have to. How can you have one without the other? You can't. You can't. That's that collective delusion again. Remember? You can't have one without the other. Where's Palestine? You can't have Israel without Palestine. If there's no Israel, if there's no Palestine, there's no Israel. Yeah, using the United States as a model to deal with your history might like the reservations. That's kind of a bad idea. That was you don't want to turn the Palestinians into a people who live on reservations. That's a bad idea. You can't look at the United States. I'm going to write up DOJ's Take 2 in the classified protective order, but since Canon has provided so much time, I'll come to it tomorrow or later. Here's my too long didn't read though. Stan Woodward, the defense lawyer for Donald Trump, threatens to make Donald Trump's fate still worse by inviting 793G charges against him. Sam Woodward, let my client see all the secrets, even though he never had a need to know them. DOJ, he doesn't have to have a need to know them because he's not charged with 793G. Stan says, give us the secrets. Department of Justice says, okay, we're going to charge you with it then. What is 793G? Gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. Whoever, for the purpose of obtaining information respecting the national defense with intent or reason to believe that the information is to be used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of any foreign nation, or if two or more persons conspire to violate any of the foregoing provisions of this section, each of the parties each of the parties to such conspiracy shall be subject to the punishment. In other words, the United States is not charging Donald Trump with the crime with that crime, helping our enemies by giving them information. We're not charging Donald Trump with that crime, the government, because the information in that in those files is a need to know information, and Donald Trump doesn't have a need to know because he's not being charged with that crime. He doesn't need to know. But Donald Trump's lawyer is suing and appealing and saying, no, you have to give Donald Trump access to those documents in order for Donald Trump to give a defense against these charges. He has to know in order to be able to defend himself against the charges. And then the Department of Justice says, all right, if he needs to know, then we can charge him with the crime of knowingly giving away sensitive information to our enemies, if that's what you want. Why would Donald Trump's lawyer invite additional charges upon their client? Why would he do it? I don't know. I'm not a legal person. But now he's got big problems. The jets are the 1% of the global warmers. According to the Institute for Policy Studies, private jets emit at least 10 times more pollutants than commercial planes per passenger. As a result, 1% of the population is responsible for generating half of the greenhouse gases emitted by aviation. So Elon Musk uses his private jet, like I use my car. Like, oh, I need to go grocery shopping. Let me get in my car. Like I need to go to work. Let me get into my car. Every day, Elon Musk's jet is flying to another fucking city or continent or country. Every day. He is pumping a ridiculous amount of pollution up into the air. It's not us small people when we take our fucking family trip to go see grandma on the East Coast. It's not us who are the main problem of climate change. It's the fucking uber rich who are just dumping pollution into the environment because they can. So if we want to address climate change, a good way to address climate change would be to tax the fucking billionaires. That's a good start. A good start. Where'd that even come from? Oh, right in the middle because it was unlabeled. Smoking, distance, and unemployment are dating liabilities for most Americans. Percentage of Americans who would be more or less likely to date someone with the following attributes. So I'm a single guy. Smokes cigarettes? Not me. Is unemployed? Not me. Lives in another state? Not my problem. Is a Trump supporter? Not me. Lives with their parents? Not me. Does not believe in God? Not me. Does not trust vaccinations? Not me. Has children? Not me. Is a feminist? Yes, me. But if you take that and you split it apart between men and women, 99% of the people who have a problem with feminists are men. So 99% of women are okay if you're a feminist. So I'm cool. Is very religious, not me. Is a vegan, not me. Does not want children, not me. Is much shorter than you, not my problem. Is a Republican, not me. Did not go to college, not me. Is a Democrat, that's me. But that's only a problem for 25% and of that 25%, I bet you the majority is men. So not a problem for me. Is much taller than you, not my problem. Come on, ladies. Help me out here. Give me some signs. You got to understand, I can't hear very good. I can't see very good. You got to be blatant. And then we got to worry about the social scene, man. That's the thing. That's the thing that constrains me. The social pressures all around. The social constraints. Because I'm always constrained by a society. At least in the city. And also I'm constrained by the levels of trust. I'm not always sure about where you're coming from. So sometimes people are bad and you don't want to be associated with them. I don't want to be associated with them. But yeah, hang out with me. Come say hi. Fascists turn schools into prisons. Philip Lewis says, the largest public school district in Texas is eliminating librarian positions and converting the libraries into discipline centers, jails, at 28 schools this upcoming years. What is this pattern of Republicans? They ban books, they ban teachers, they ban libraries, and turn them into jails. They put cops in schools, and the cops in schools arrest kids and put them into jails and create a school-to-prison pipeline. I mean, how much more blatant do you have to get to show that these Republicans are Nazis? They're white supremacists. Because this whole deal isn't to help minority children. It's to incarcerate the minority children and use their life force in order to help white supremacy. Sacrifice children for white supremacy, for the white idol. I'm telling you, Republicans are evil. I mean, you can see their signs all over the place. All over the place. All over the place. Netanyahu signals switch to authoritarianism. See, he's switching. You can tell that Netanyahu is on Team Russia. So Netanyahu sends a not very subtle message to Biden by releasing a photo of a meeting with the Chinese ambassador who brought him President Xi's book. So in other words, Bibi is saying, look, dudes, if you don't get on board with authoritarianism, then Bibi is going to send Israel into the arms of authoritarianism, into fascism. That's what Bibi wants to do, and that's why he's courting China. That's what this whole thing is about. Bibi is antagonistic to Biden, but he is very, very, very friendly with Xi. Big problems, guys, big problems. Water at tip of Florida hits hot tub level. May have set world record for the warmest seawater. The water temperature on the tip of Florida hit hot tub levels exceeding 100 degrees Celsius, or Fahrenheit, 37.8 degrees Celsius, 2 days in a row, which meteorologists say could potentially be the hottest seawater ever recorded, ever measured. Climate change is real. You can deny it all you want. Who are the people that are trying to get you to deny your own senses? It's always the fascists. It's always the white supremacists. They're trying to get you to divorce your senses from reality. That was the whole point of that little kid. She didn't have the conditioning. She still had the connection to her senses. And her senses told her that was a preposterous idea to tell her that she is white when white is obviously not what she is. You have to be brainwashed or have a certain level of understanding about the social construct that the child is still yet ignorant, or not ignorant, but naive. They don't know yet. They don't know about the social construct. And they have to be conditioned into it. So it's literally a thing, right? It's literally a thing that has to be reproduced. And Republicans always try to reproduce it. White supremacists always have to remake it. And they do it by making you forget history. And they do it by making you ignore your senses. Like for the fact that it's fucking hot. It's fucking hot. It shouldn't be this hot. We should be doing something to mitigate the effects of this climate change. But there's one group of people trying to stop us. That's Republicans. And they serve oil interests. So even Joe Manchin serves oil interests. Fuck that guy. So Florida, we know, is under Republican rule, which is white supremacist rule. And they chose Prager, the company, there's a private company called Prager that has a brainwashing seminar. It's propaganda, celebrates colonialism, and it discounts. Look at the pictures, right? It discounts. It tries to paint the social movements as bad. Look at this picture by Prager, right? Why is this like an interesting example? Because it's putting the slogan Black Lives Matter, and it's trying to pin it off against Latin Americans. But that's not true. But Prager University is putting out a narrative of white supremacy. So they want to pit the two sides against each other. They want to pit black Americans against Latin Americans. Because if the two sides are fighting each other, they will never point to the white supremacists who are the ones instigating it. Prager University, the Prager U, is exactly that. It's a brainwashing organization, and the fascist Don DeSantis is putting them in charge of education in Florida. They're gonna literally brainwash kids into white supremacy. It's fucked up. That's why there's like a sense of urgency that we get rid of these white supremacists. All right, I think I got all the heavy stuff out of the way. Let's lighten it up a little bit. So Vladimir Putin is known for wagging his dick around. And the way he wags his dick around is he makes people wait for him. He either forces them to wait for him, or he puts them in an awkward position where he is in the superior position. That's the signal of a small ego person. His ego is easily wounded, is very, very fragile. If he needs to put people in a place, in their place, before they even start, that's a sign of a weak ego. So yeah, he's very, very well known for this. But however, Russia is no longer viewed as a powerful nation anymore. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the failure of the invasion, Russia is now seen as a weak nation. And so now all those states, all those people that he made wait, because to show how powerful he was, now they're making him wait. They're making Vladimir Putin wait now. Wait, just wait. Look how long he's just waiting there, looking like a dumbass in front of the cameras. So he's trying to play it off, but he's just waiting for the president to show up. He's doing this on purpose. The president is doing this on purpose. I think this is the president of Egypt. The president of Egypt did that on purpose to make him wait, to put him in his place. Fuck Vladimir Putin, piece of shit. Yeah, it's hard to talk about things sometimes because people have these shields up. They have these shields, and you don't want to that stops you from coming directly at them. The shield stops you from coming directly at them. So you can't just talk about it. You got to be all subtle about it. Because if you're direct, then it just bounces off. Unless you're really direct. Like, I acknowledge you, you acknowledge me, let us discuss. But anyways, space-time. 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 That is the example of an artist's conception of a wormhole. That humans would be able to use so much power that they would literally bend the fabric of space-time to create a fold, and then use that power, use the energy to punch a hole from one side of the space-time to the other side of the space-time, so that the object doesn't have to move at relativistic speeds. It stays put, and instead you move the space around it. The object doesn't move, but you move the space. That would take a fucking ridiculous amount of energy. Because, like, of what black holes are. Black holes are a region of so much gravity that, so behind this black hole, so the black hole is real, right? It's in 3D space. We know it's in 3D space because things can go behind it and things can go in front of it. This is an example of a thing going behind it. It's such a heavy thing that it bends the space-time around it. And it warps light. It warps light, and light to the point where even light can't escape it. So let me give you an example. My dude. Okay, so to understand the way this works, gravity, mass is able to bend the fabric of space and time just by being. Just by being there, mass is going to bend the fabric of space and time so that objects will be attracted to one another. And objects with mass attract other things to it. Damn it. Objects with great mass attract other things to it. Okay. So the sun is sitting at the bottom of a gravity well, and all the planets are going around the sun like this in the gravity well. And because there's no friction in space, they will never ever lose energy and fall down into the sun. Never. They're moving outward at the same speed as they're falling inward. So they're in orbit. Okay, now if you take the sun and you compress it even smaller in space, you create even more gravity. So the gravity around a white dwarf is going to be like, you take the same mass, but you compress it into the size of a white dwarf. So the gravity well is going to be even deeper. Like really, really, really strong gravity. And a black hole has space-time around it compressed so much that it gets down to the point of a singularity. A singularity is a place where gravity is so strong that the boundaries of space and time break down. So what happens when you fall into a black hole? Now, you have to understand, in space-time, I learned this idea, and it makes sense. Like, it kind of made a key. It clicked in my head, and it made things make sense. We always talk about, like, you know, what happens if we could go to light speed? You know, what if we could accelerate to light speed? Wouldn't that be fantastic? Understand that everything is moving at light speed. everything is moving at light speed. Light speed is the constant. It's the constant. Everything moves at light speed in some frame relative to something else, because it's all relative. Everything's relative. So everything in the universe is moving at light speed relative to something else. Already moving at light speed. But the way through which you move at, but you remember, you're not just moving at light speed. You're moving at light speed through something. That something is called space-time. You're moving at light speed through something called space-time. So when you're moving, you have momentum. You have momentum. You're moving in a dimension, and you're in space-time. You're moving at light speed in a dimension, and that dimension is space-time. But space-time is tricky, right? There's two parts to it. There's space and there's time. So the thing is, out here, out far, far away. Oh shit. God, stop doing that. Out here, far, far away. I'm gonna move into the nether. Out here, away from out here, away from any gravity, right? We're not near any gravity right now. We're out in empty space. We're out in empty space. Space-time is flat. Out here, space-time is flat. No, there's no strong gravitational pull making you go in any one direction. So time is moving at a constant, and people move locally. They move locally at in space. So a lot of your momentum is being used to move yourself through space. That's why the faster you move through space, the more time is dilated, because you're changing your momentum from space-time more into the space part and less into the time part. That's why time slows down. But you can go the other way too, right? You can take your momentum in space-time. If you go near a black hole, your momentum starts getting changed by the intense gravity. Out here, you're just floating free, nothing. But as you fall into the black hole, what's happening is all your momentum is being changed from moving in space to moving in time. Now you're moving in time. What does that mean? That means you're not going anywhere, but you're decaying really, really, really fast. Because remember, the law of the universe is that entropy is real. What is entropy? The tendency for things and systems to break down and dissolve into an equilibrium. And your body is literally an anti-entropy thing. It is literally anti-entropy. It's order held together. And it has to be maintained by constant consumption of food and the maintenance of favorable environmental conditions. Like it takes work, energy to maintain this system, and even then, the system is constantly breaking down through entropy. So if you're in a black hole, you don't have to move anywhere, right? You're falling into a your forward momentum has stopped, and now you're falling in. Now you're moving through time. I feel like that's what's happened to me. That I'm falling into a black hole. Because I stopped moving around the world so fast, and I've stayed put real quick. Stayed put for a long time, and time has seemed to have accelerated as I have stayed put. Not slowed down, but accelerated. I'm getting old quick, is what I'm telling you. But yeah. Which means I'm coming closer to my singularity, which is my death. What else do I got? Space-time. Or maybe I could pull out of the black hole. right? And I can then use the gravity for a slingshot to accelerate me to unimaginable speeds. Which means to take all my momentum out of space and shove it out of time and shove it into space. How would I do that without burning hydrocarbons? Anyways, what a long ass show. Let's just look at the train station I made. Right? Isn't this awesome? It's a great train station. Good things are coming. Good things are just around the bend. I can feel it. All right. I think that will do it today for the information part of my show. I can start doing I can start building stuff up there for the item sorter for later. But yeah, I hope all this stuff put into context the world a little bit better for you, so that when you gain other information from the world, you can place it into proper context. I think Donald Trump is going to be arrested pretty soon, or at least indicted. He'll be served his indictment, and that will lead to his arrest. So soon, very soon. Okay, until next time, America. Pogokuro out. Peace.